We're gonna be jumping straight into tuning in this video on the 06 STI. If you guys are new here, this is my 2006 STI. We bought this thing a couple months ago as a complete clapper of a car. It's a lot less of a clapper now, and we bought it to learn to tune on. So yesterday we did as much data logging around the shop parking lot as we absolutely could. So the game plan right now is to drive this thing to the gas station. I don't have any taillights. You think that'll be an issue? I'm about to have taillights because I have the harnesses. I forgot I had the harnesses back here in the trunk. We're gonna get a data log at whatever RPM load range we can get into just to further our volumetric efficiency table on the car. We're gonna do that on the way there. Start doing some changes to the ECU map. Now, I was watching some more tuning videos last night, and the main way that I'm learning to do all of this is by obviously doing it, but obviously going through a lot of the High Performance Academy videos on EFI tuning. They've got things specifically for access tuner like we're using, standalone tuning, all sorts of things. Honestly, HPA has been like a big contributing factor for me in learning a lot of the stuff that I have, especially like motorsports wiring. That's where I went when I was learning to do a lot of that stuff. But if any of the HPA stuff seems like it might be of interest to you guys, we do have a discount code and I will throw it down below, but that has been primarily my go-to for learning how to tune on this car. So this morning I was watching some of the practical tuning with Andre as he was on the dyno and whatnot, going over some of the basic things that we need to cover. So for us, it's going to be driving this car at a very specific load range. It'll probably be around 2,000 to 4,000 RPM and X amount of vacuum or pressure in the intake manifold, because we are tuning this on speed density, so it only relies on the intake air temperature sensor and the manifold pressure sensor. So let's get this thing fired up. We're gonna let it warm up. I am gonna get a new data log of the cold start, so that way we can make our cold start adjustments as needed, because I already know the AF learning is going to be way out there. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous to drive this thing, but I have to tell myself I bought this thing in way worse condition than it's in now, and it still managed to drive home an hour, so it'll be fine. The worst case scenario, something happens, what we call tow truck. Tow truck comes and gets us. Come on. So start logging. So in the meantime, I'm gonna grab my computer in case we do break down, or in case the tune does act up. I can at least access the ECU through my computer if we absolutely need to. I need to look at, we're staying entirely in closed loop right now. The main thing with like open loop versus closed loop, it's primarily going to reference the O2 sensors to make any changes to keep the car at the target AFR that it wants. So obviously we're trying to keep it at a stoichiometric AFR. If you don't know what stoichiometric is, it's like the ideal burn rate for whatever fuel that you're using. We're using pump gas. Ethanol has its own stoichiometric rate or stoichiometric value. Methanol does, they all have their own. So we're gonna get some fresh pump gas in this thing. I have no idea how old that fuel is that's in the fuel tank. I did not put it in there. It has been in there since we bought the car. So who knows the last time this thing was actually filled up. The two main things that we're gonna be watching are AF correction and AF learning. AF correction is gonna be our short-term fuel correction. And the number that you see displayed on the access port is a percentage of how much fuel it's either removing or adding in. So right now it is removing roughly 5% fuel, 6%. And depending on how long that short-term fuel trim stays like this, it will then be transferred into your AF learning, which is the long-term. It could take a couple minutes, could take a couple drive cycles, but eventually, if this AF correction number is not fixed, the ECU goes, hey, at this specific RPM or at this specific load event, we know that we have a fueling issue. So it takes that short-term correction and then puts it into its long-term AF learning. So every time it goes back into that portion of the map, it knows, hey, we need to add or remove X amount of fuel to get to our target air-fuel ratio rate. So we're gonna let this thing warm up and we're gonna go hit the road and hopefully this thing cooperates with us. Party, my alignment is so screwed too. I just need to get this driving. Oh, we got a little bit of feedback knock. I just need to get this driving enough. That way I can drive this down to Subaru to get my alignment done, because I have to get an alignment done on this car before we drive it down to FIM. All right, come on. I want to get up into third gear. All right, and then I just want to hold it right here. So a lot of the data logs that you guys are going to see me doing, it's going to be consistent driving around the same RPM
around the same load, so that way we can get consistent data, because there are correction factors that are trying to change the AF correction and the AF learning as we're driving if I am not holding the throttle constant. So a lot of this, you're just gonna kind of see me driving in a very consistent RPM at the same throttle percentage, all of that, just so we can get consistent data.
Right there's like perfect. Yeah, I will be turning in here. It's gonna die on me. No, oh no, it didn't. It lived. Cool. Let's end that data log. It's okay, little Subaru man. We're getting you your data logs so that we can make you run right. Just gonna let it fill up. Man, gas kind of cheap here. $4.80 a gallon. It may not sound cheap, but everywhere else like $6. I paid $6 the other day for the Tacoma. It was ridiculous. Yeah, a little wagon over there, a little WRX wagon. Is he gonna do a pull? Do a pull. Do a pull. Yeah, he can do a pull. Hey, look at that. How much was that? 44 bucks. I'm just gonna start my data log. I can sift through all this. I wanna get up into like 4th gear. I wanna be like right around 2,000. Yeah, this is fine right here. Right around 2,000 RPM. We're just gonna cruise so that way AF correction and learning can all figure itself out. Back to the shop and let's go make some tune adjustments, and we'll go out and try again. Every time we take it out, it should start to be driving better and better. Since I don't have the dyno right now, we're just doing everything that we can preemptively to get this thing tuned. But overall, dude, so far, I'm pretty happy with how this thing's doing. Especially for how much of a fucking clap box it was. You don't know how to drive. We're also gonna scan that ABS light before we go back out to see why that's popping back up. I've got our data log pulled up, and the reason that we need longer extractions of data is if you look here at the beginning of this log, there's a lot of discrepancy, and this is kind of as I'm like leaving the parking lot, and then coming out, you can see right here is where we start to hold throttle. We're at 12.9%, and we just kind of hold it there, and as we're holding it there, we get a lot more accurate data for the VE map. So I did this really cool calculation in here which you can set up so that way as you're doing this you can get kind of a, I call it a speed density adjustment, where it's automatically adding the AF correction and the AF learning together to give me a speed density adjustment, and that tells me the exact number that I need to input into the ECU. Like, let me find a spot where it has AF learning, which I don't know if it has any AF learning in this map or in this log. It doesn't, weirdly enough. But with AF learning, you can see we're plus or minus 5% the entire time. But on AF learning, if we have an AF correction of 1 and an AF learning of minus 0.0, it will automatically add those together and give me the difference in the speed density adjustment, and then I can just go into our tune and adjust the speed density of the manifold pressure and the RPM of where they meet by that number. So I've already got the new tune loaded up onto the 06 STI. I do want to get another idle log, another hot idle log of this thing, and just see if I can make some adjustments to it. So we'll get an idle log, then we're going to go back out, drive this thing again. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. Rear left ABS sensor signal. That's historical. Okay. Well, that's easy. Let's erase that. Now my ABS light should be off. If the code comes back, we at least know it's the rear left wheel speed sensor. I also made a change to injector pulse width on deceleration to hopefully try to keep the car from dying. So we'll drive it around the parking lot a little bit and see if that made any difference. So we're gonna get a little bit higher in the load range this time. Get up into like 3rd gear. Hold. It's just like all these different RPM ranges that I'm trying to get and all these different loads. It's like right now the load's probably not high at 2200 RPM. AF correction is actually looking really good. There's no AF learning, and we're sitting at minus 1%, maybe? That's off the log that we just got too. That's pretty neat. All right, same thing, rinse and repeat, man. We'll go review data logs, make some changes, go out, do it again. I really got to figure out what's going on here with the idle. I have the AF correction removing 4%, but the AF learning adding 4%. I've gone back and forth so many times now with the 06. Last night, I've made enough changes where I feel like I can drive the car within a comfortable load range underneath like 3,500 RPM. So we're gonna drive the Subaru down to Subaru. We're gonna drive the STI down to Subaru. I've got an appointment to get an alignment done because I can't really get up to higher speeds right now to get data logs because the alignment's so off, it just does not feel safe to drive. So we're gonna let this thing warm up, hit the road, go down to Subaru, get our alignment. We should be able to get some more data logs on the way down there and the way back up. So it'll greatly increase our tuning endeavor excitement even more. Because I have to get this thing driving so that way on Tuesday, I can drive it down to the dyno. Because I don't want to trailer it down, I want to be able to drive it down. And then drive it home, hopefully. Like the maiden voyage, man. Like I've completely torn this car apart, put it all back together. We're the ones tuning it and everything. You know, it's a little scary if we're being honest. At least for me. For people who have done this, God knows how many times with tuning, they're probably like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. Build a quick little mappy map and go drive the car. For me, I don't exactly know everything that's right, that's wrong, but you know, we'll figure it out. Traffic's probably gonna be mad at me because I am not gonna be moving fast. It's fine, it's like a half-hour drive down to Subaru, so I'll probably put on the radio, maybe find that Minecraft station, might get a data log or two, go down and get this thing aligned, and then it should be a lot easier to get some data logs where I can actually, you know, drive straight. All right, we're about 5 miles in. I've noticed a little bit of smoke coming out of the hood scoop. I'm not sure if that's Cerakote off the downpipe or if that oil leak that we had is back. I want to jump on the freeway, but I don't think that's a smart idea with our alignment right now. So I think I'm just going to kind of try to stick to back roads. I also haven't gone to that speed, which is like 60 yet. So I don't know if my load calculation for RPM is going to be the same. So it might put us in a portion of, see, right now, -1 feedback knock. So it might put us in a portion of the map that I have not touched yet. So at least for the portion of the map that we are driving in, AF correction is within that ±5, which is ideal, especially if I'm holding throttle for a while at the like a consistent load or a consistent RPM. Everything seems to be okay for the most part. So look at us, man. We're getting some break-in miles. It's probably got to be some like really mean break-in miles. What do you think they'd give me trade-in value on this? Don't worry, guys. I brought my clapped out PO. Watch it die in the parking lot. That's not gonna do that. She a trooper, man. All right. Look at all these VBs and BRZs they got down here, man. They got a little bit of don't do it now, man. It might smell a little bit funny. And it might make some weird noises, but that's all right. All right, we're just gonna park this right here. Whoop. I'm gonna go get checked in. Look at that, we're all getting in the green. Starting with the rear. The rear axle wasn't too terrible, but that's not bad. Got -1, 2 on both of the rears, 0 toe. Not bad. A drink back here, man. Give me that. So we have a fresh alignment on here. I also had Subaru program my new key. This is actually for this car. This is an Outback key that is broken, and this is the only one that came with the car. So now we've got a proper key. We actually have a working key fob also, so I can unlock and lock the car with the key fob. So let's start to head back towards the shop. I am going to grab a couple data logs on the way. But dude, the alignment. There's Matt. Everyone say hi to Matt. If you need a Subaru, Matt will buy a Subaru, or Matt will sell your Subaru, or sell you a Subaru. Bye, Matt. I feel so bad leaving Matt. I feel so bad. Matt, come with me. So I've been driving the car a little more aggressive on the way home, and like under load, it seems to be rather fine for the most part in AF correction. I think the things that we primarily need to focus on right now are transient throttle, tip in, cold start, and a lot of the other tables that we haven't been able to really focus on yet, because our VE table has been kind of like underworked. But overall, like the car is, I feel comfortable that I could drive this an hour to go down to the dyno. Although we do have a significant, it's not a significant, we do have smoke coming out of the hood scoop. Like as you guys can see, we've tuned this car to the point where we can comfortably drive it. AF correction, like right in this range, is a little, it's pulling about 6% of fuel there. But if I'm trying to like hardcore focus on all of this street tuning the car, we can get there, but it'll be a lot easier just to do it all on the dyno. Plus we have a load cell dyno that we're going to be using, so it's going to be a lot easier for us to do this, because we can just tell the dyno, hey, hold the car at this RPM while I do the load calculations that I have to do, and we'll go from there. Going back, if you go back to the beginning of my channel when I started doing everything, I didn't know how to work on these cars. Now we've completely rebuilt this one and we're tuning it. That's insane to me. It's just wild. And I will say, having like the mechanical knowledge of knowing how these engines work, that brake is gonna drive me nuts. But having the mechanical knowledge of knowing how these engines work and then going to tune it does help like a significant bit in my opinion. So we're almost back to the shop. Once we'll get back there, I'll probably take a look at these logs. We may or may not, we might or might not get some more later, but I think the things that I primarily need to focus on now are not so much the VE table for the areas that we're driving in, because I'm just going to be chasing little corrections at this point. And I can chase the little corrections all day, but it'll never be 100%. For the most part, under cruising, my VE table is within plus or minus 3. It's all of the little correction factors in between when you let off the throttle, get back on the throttle, when you're coming to a stop. That was one thing I had to fix, was when we were coming to a stop, I was having an issue where the car would die. And turns out there's a table called, it's under the fuel table, it's called overrun. So you're essentially telling the injector to continue to spray fuel for X amount of time at this pulse width after you come off throttle and the car's coming down to a stop, so that way the car doesn't die. So there's a lot of like little intricacies. And when we're on the dyno, I'll have the laptop open with my head cam on, so that way you guys can see everything I'm doing. It's kind of difficult doing it, going to get data logs, going back and reviewing everything, but it's not as like wizardry or as science. Like, it's not as hard as like what a lot of people lead on to believe. I looked at the logs that we took on the drive back up here, and under cruising, everything for the load ranges that I'm able to drive in are all within a plus or minus 3% air fuel correction. So there's not too much else I can do on this car aside from some cold start stuff, tip-in enrichment, and some other stuff. Tip-in enrichment is when you kind of get on the throttle a little bit. You kind of have to compensate that. The primary speed density map has been built. So we have a base tune. I built a base tune for the car. We have about 60 miles on the car right now. I'll probably continue to drive it around over the next couple of days to get some more miles on it. We did figure out the source of the smoke. That was just the turbo oil feed line. Super easy fix. I literally just took out the fitting, put a little thread seal on it, put it back in, let it cure, tighten everything up, and it's gone. Dude, we are dyno ready on the 06 STI. Tuning hasn't been as hard as I thought it would be so far. Like, it's definitely a skill you need to learn, and we haven't gotten any of the hard stuff yet. In my opinion, we haven't gotten any of the hard stuff. We've just been doing basic speed density, volumetric efficiency table building to be able to drive the car. But that's like the foundation of what the entire tune is built on. So I am going to continue to play with my map a little bit for some smaller stuff. Once I get a lot more comfortable and I understand a little bit more what a lot of this stuff is doing, I'll do a live stream and we can go through doing a lot of this, so that way you guys can get like a first-hand experience with it. I just don't want to be sharing information that I'm not 100% certain is correct on the tuning side of things quite yet. So that will be coming as soon as I kind of get the foundation and the fundamentals done with. I got some HPA classes I got to watch tonight, which once again, if you guys want to do the HPA stuff, I highly recommend it. We have a link down below if you guys want to save a little bit of money on that stuff. But with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. We have a base tune on the STI. It's aligned. It is dyno ready. So we go to the dyno in a couple days with the car. We'll probably tune the car on wastegate, to be completely honest. We'll probably go into wastegate tuning, which is 14 pounds or 1 bar. And I primarily want to live in that range of getting the car dialed in 100% perfect. I'm not trying to copy and paste maps or take other people's information or data or anything like that. I want to be the one solely responsible for everything that we do on this car, because that's realistically, that's the only way I'm going to learn. If you copy somebody else's tune, or you copy somebody else's maps, you don't learn anything. You're not going to be able to replicate results in the future, and you're just going to be putting a value in a cell because you know that value works. But I'm getting into the weeds with it. Once again, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you like the video, if you're hyped with the 06, if you just enjoy watching us do whatever we're doing, go ahead, hit the like button, turn the black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver side, and whatever color it turns for you. If you don't like me, if you hate my car, if you hate puppies, dislike the video then. If you're not subscribed and you want to be able to put it one of these corners, no idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.